We arrived on a Monday. I guess it was Labor Day. Yeah, Labor Day. And we started teaching on Tuesday. We're right now staying with Susan and Bob until we can find a house. Finding a house, of course all the houses are lived in, consists of somebody moving out of their house in with somebody else. There are 2 new houses that are being built, and the people will move out eventually into their new houses, but I guess they're not ready to now, in which case we could have one of the old houses. Right now we've got a possibility. One of the some people that Susan and Bob know said that they would, maybe their mother and father would move in with them and we could have their house. This is the way Susan and Bob got the house that they live in. The chief has promised that they will find us a house within 15 days by having somebody move. This is part of their responsibility if they want us here in a way to help us find a place to live, and if they want more Peace Corps people. Susan and Bob had quite a time when they were here because there are contract teachers' houses, and there are 4 of them, and there are only two couples that teach, and the village sort of took it for granted that they'd live in one of the contract teachers' house, and they had quite a time convincing the people that they wanted to live in the village. The contract teachers live right up on the hill close to the school, and are not really in the village at all. I think there's not much more to tell you about Rota physically. You get used to looking and seeing the ocean all the time, and the trees, and hearing the ocean. Of course, the stars are in a different shape, in a different place, and this is something to get used to. We have sunsets that are pretty and sunrises. From our house we can't see the ocean, but we can see the savannah. The town is, as I said, very neat. There are roads that are 2 roads that go lengthwise, and then smaller roads that go across. These are just dirt, but kept very clean and neat. The houses are mostly made of tin, except for the cement houses, which I mentioned are being built. Most of them are raised from the ground as they're high. Our house is very high. It's very easy to walk underneath it, and I suppose it comes above my waist. We don't have any front step right now. We usually use our back door, and I have trouble getting in the front door because it is so high. One problem here, another reason people are building cement houses, is the termites. We can, just sweep away the termite dust every morning. And I don't think there's much to do about it, really. The house is just infested with termites. They don't really bother you. You just know they're there. We are, excuse me, we are renting our house. We're not starting to pay rent until December because of fixing up that we've been doing. The Peace Corps gives us $10 each a month for rent, and so we'll be paying this for rent. Our house needed a lot of fixing because it hadn't been lived in for 2 years. It belonged to one of the older men in the village, the father of the magistrate in the village, and it had been partially taken apart in places for the lumber. Lumber is something that's hard to get hold of. Materials are something that they're hard to find, they're hard to get a hold of, and they're just not around. You sort of put together what you can with what you've got. We had to put in part of a floor and a ceiling. We used a packing crate materials that arrived in for one of the contract teachers. Right now we're working on putting a ceiling up in our kitchen. We have a tin roof, and it gets pretty hot, so we're trying to get a ceiling up underneath this roof, and we're just using boards that we can get from here and from there and from around about. We got old screening from the school. They put on new screening, and people gave us screening. We borrowed nails, and right now our floors need painting. We've written to the Peace Corps to see if they can send us some paint from Saipan, which we're hoping very much that we'll get. So slowly things are sort of coming together. We have a bedroom, and we were lent a bed by the Trust Territory, and somebody gave us a kind of cabinet, so we keep our clothes in that. And we've also given a hot locker by somebody else, so we use that for things that we want to keep moisture from. We have a living room, which we don't have any chairs in, so we don't really use it too much. We're having a mat made that we'll be putting on the floor, made out of bandana sleeves. And I'm learning how to make those myself, but don't quite have the time yet. And we So we have sort of some on the floor, or a ship biscuit can, or a paint can, or something. We have a kind of hallway and a kind of porch area that Greg's just finished screening in. And then we have a very nice kitchen that was filthy dirty before we moved in. The whole house was filthy dirty. The Boy Scouts came over one day and cleaned it and painted it with paint someone had lent us and got the place really in shape. Our kitchen's nice. It's got counter space. It's got a rusted out sink that was made out of half of a oil can or large gallon drum, 50-gallon drum, I guess. But it works okay. We were lent a refrigerator, so we have that. Our refrigerator freezes everything, but Greg's managed to put a shelf in it, so that a wooden shelf, so that now we don't have too much trouble with that. It doesn't have any controls on it. So things sort of fit together, and we bought things before we came, as far as plates and cooking utensils and things that we thought we might need. And we're glad we did. It's really, we just can't buy anything here except food. And now and then something comes in. Like today we managed to buy a broom. One of the stores got in brooms, and we got one. Every once in a while we can get something like this, and when it's there, we buy it. You learn very quickly. You don't wait until the next day. One of the stores has just gotten in lots and lots of material, which is nice. I've been doing a bit of sewing, making curtains. I made green curtains for the bedroom and blue for the living room and yellow out in the kitchen. So we really manage quite well. Our day is pretty full with teaching and then other things. Maybe you can hear I've had a cold and missed a bit of school. The flu went around a bit. I had been going up every night to read in the library, which just been put together in one of the houses, which I enjoyed very much. I'd also been working a little bit with the Girl Scouts, as well as teaching. We're getting to know the people around us. I do my washing with one neighbor. She has a washing machine, and I wash my clothes in that and then rinse them out by hand. Greg put up a clothesline for me. And another neighbor has a sewing machine, which I use to sew on. I also use her hot plate now and again to cook on. So that we're getting to know quite a few people. It's a different kind of social life. The people have very large families. Right now, as I'm sitting here, a cockroach is running across our floor. This is one of our problems. I really don't like cockroaches, and we have quite a few. We have even more ants. The ants don't bother me in the same way the cockroaches do, but I certainly don't like them. We've got black ants and red ants and brown ants, and it's quite a chore to keep them where they should be, which is out of the house. We also have large toads that sit outside, and spiders, and I guess that's what we... Oh, and geckos. There's little lizards, and the geckos are really quite fun. They run all over the ceiling, and they're all different sizes. And they eat the bugs. We don't bother them very much. It's only the ants and the cockroaches that we don't like. But they're really not bad. We've been working on trying to keep everything clean and keep everything away from the house, and they're starting to diminish now. The house was empty for 2 years, so this is one of the reasons there are so many strange animals around. Outside our house, we've got various sort of sheds. One that has scrap metal in it and such. Another that doesn't have anything in it. There used to be a shower. We use a neighbor's shower. It's just a hose with water. Very nice to have water just coming down. It's cold, but it doesn't seem cold anymore. It's just a nice temperature. I find that if I'm really dirty, I need to swim or boil some water. Sometimes my feet get quite dirty, and I really need to get water warm to get them clean. But the shower is very refreshing. We have outhouse, I guess you'd say. We haven't built a water seal yet or done very much about that, but there's no problem with the facilities that we have. We have what I guess is supposed to be a garage. We use it to hang our clothes in. It's just a wooden poles with metal on top. No wall sides or anything. Which is very good for the clothes because it rains quite often. Rains come up, and you just sort of do your wash and put it out. If it rains, it rains, and this keeps the rain off and the wind off and dries it. So even when we had a lot of rain, my clothes dried without any trouble at all. We find that the people on Rota very friendly, very nice to work with, very receptive. We've made a lot of friends, I think, so far, that we not deep friends yet, but just friends, people we like and people that we see. Very helpful, very understanding. It's like, for example, the other day we didn't have any bread, and Greg went to the store to see if the woman had made any bread, and she hadn't. So he came back, and then about 5 minutes later, the woman from the hotel came with bread for us. And she said that she'd seen Greg go to the store and figured that we didn't have any bread, and she knew that we were working and didn't have much time. This was at lunchtime, and I wanted to make sandwiches. And so she brought this bread to us. You know, a very little thing, but things like this happen. And it makes life very, very pleasant to have this kind of feeling around you, and not to be resented or not wanted, I suppose. It's hard to say it that way, but it's true. It's nice to feel that you are doing something and you enjoy doing it, and people enjoy having you do it, and that you can help.